You're listening to the Beats and Bars podcast hosted by BATTL Beats. This podcast is out there to shine a light on the most slept on and underrated rappers and producers.
It's battle, baby.
Hey guys, what's up? It's BATTL Beats here. You're listening to the Beats and Bars podcast. We have got a very special guest for episode 10. We've got Legend. How's it going, bro?
Going good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. So, since I started this podcast, I have wanted to get you on this podcast since like day one, and we've been going 9 weeks now. So finally, we've got you on, and it feels good. So yeah, man, it's an honor to have you on, and for the people listening to learn about your story, to show them your music, your style, and because you're kind of unique, you've got your own style in your own way, and it's really, really cool. And hopefully people get to know you, and then hopefully can listen to some of your music as well. But just start off the bat, when did you really start getting into rapping?
I mean, it really wasn't until, a year or two back when I met you was when I first started. I mean, so probably very late 2018, early 2019. Before that, I mean, it's really just, I could always freestyle. I never really did it though, because, just a confidence thing. I would do it to myself, maybe if everybody was drunk, as a teenager, but I never really jumped around and let it be known that I did it publicly or anything, so really it's just recently. I never really practiced it. I feel like I was just kind of lucky enough to always have kind of a rhythm, with those freestyles. Just kind of with it,
Because if there's anything, if you used to put like a word next to like legend that describes you, you would say like Freestyle King, because you just are the Freestyle King. Like I remember listening. I think we either followed each other, back end of 2018. I remember that we followed each other, and you was liking and commenting my stuff, I was liking and commenting your stuff, and I just remember being like, this guy's freestyles are just insane. So like some people freestyle and you can tell that they've really actually planned it, and they've planned the whole flowing, but you just speak from the heart and you just go for it, and you kill it all the time. It's really cool.
And that's it's harder for me to rehearse the written than it is to freestyle, because when you're doing a written, it's so easy to mess up on a word or two. When you're freestyling, you just kind of go wherever your mind's taking you,
So what's your sort of writing style for like records that you make?
It's about the same thing. I mean, so like if I find a beat, I kind of just, most of the time I'm on the go, I'm at work, I'm doing something. So usually I'm in my car, as you see with all my freestyle videos. But like if I'm driving to work, driving to the gym, I kind of play the song, and I'll start just freestyling as I'm driving, kind of get together. I lose a lot of songs that way too, though, because, I'm not writing it down. And then, by the time I get home to write it down or something, I kind of forget the flow or forget a few words, and I'm trying to redo it. And at that point, I just start fresh. But for the most of the time, even if I'm sitting at home, I just keep playing the beat and just keep going through my verse, and I just keep adding on to it as I go, So
Nice.
I'm just adding words and just keep doing it that way until I get what I like.
So you don't always like write down lyrics?
I don't think. I mean, I've never wrote anything on paper. Sometimes now I'll sit on my phone for a little bit, and I'll add a few things here and there. But most of the time, it's like I'll just keep going. And every time I find a bar I like or a word I like, I write it in my notes to my phone, and I just keep going from there.
That's cool, because that's kind of like unique as well, because not everyone does that. And because you've got like really good freestyle skills, a lot of people may actually struggle with the execution. They might be just really good at lyrics and writing them down and then figuring out their flow and stuff over the beat. But for you, it's more sounds like you get the flow sorted and then the lyrics just come like naturally.
Yeah. And I mean, sometimes that hurts with the structure of things, because my weak point is probably my hooks, because it's hard to freestyle hooks, so choruses are definitely what I need to work on. But as far as like, I feel like my flow is a little different in every song I do. I mean, I know I have a general sound, but I try like that. Usually different beats just bring different flows. So I hate to just sit there and write something and then try to match it to that beat, you know?
Hmm. What would you say is your style then?
I mean, I don't know what, like, as far as, like, give me an example now.
Like, for example, I mean, like Travis Scott, his style is like way different to like Eminem's style. Like,
Mhm.
so who would you sort of mirror? Who do you not mirror, but who do you say you're out of like all the professionals? Who would you say you're most like, and that your style gets influence from?
Yeah, I don't know who I'm most like because, you know, I've actually tried to ask other people what they think. And
I mean, I think you are unique to yourself,
yeah.
so maybe more in general what your style is like then.
So, I mean, I think growing up, you know, in South Florida, most of my influences are, you know, Miami rap and just different stuff from heavy Atlanta influence, you know. So they were, you know, really big back then. They still are, like the hip hop mecca or whatever. But so I grew up on, like, you know, Young Jeezy, probably one of my favorite rappers. I mean, I know he's not the best lyrically, but I just always loved him. I still listen to him. You know, Ludacris, T.I., Trick Daddy, just everybody from around that area kind of just built my style. Nelly. So a lot of Atlanta influence, and a lot of that, you know, a lot of that was kind of just a mix of things. You know, it wasn't really trap back then. You know, kind of that was kind of the origin of trap, I guess you could say. And that's back when like crunk was coming out, trap was coming out. So there's so many different styles, and then you have like drill music in Miami that's still kind of big. So I think it's just a merge of everything growing up. But those are probably the people I listen to the most, is just from that Atlanta scene. You know, in late '90s, I wasn't really like huge. You know, I mean, I like, you know, every white rapper's gotta love Eminem, you know, but I wasn't really a huge Eminem fan until later in life. You know, I
Mm.
appreciate his albums. His Slim Shady LP is probably one of the best albums ever, but other than that, it's mainly just that, you know, Dirty South. Just
Yeah, yeah,
it's got its own sound, you know.
yeah. Very nice, very nice. So that's cool. So you've not really been like properly giving it a go for very long, maybe
Yeah.
nearly nearly coming up 2 years. What was it like when you was like, you must have had this moment where you was like, right, I'm gonna start taking this seriously and I'm gonna start putting out music and things. What was your thought process behind like, right, I'm going for it?
I mean, really, it was just out of necessity and just having free time. So, you know, I had a lot of health issues, still kind of just now bouncing back for them. They were real bad for about 2 years where I couldn't really work. You know, I was working 5, 10 hours a week. Just, you know, I was just not doing good. And eventually I started working part-time again. And, you know, I was like, you know what? I got this skill, you know, I might as well try to, you know, hone it, you know, maybe at one point make a little bit of money off of it, you know. At that point, I didn't know if I'd ever be able to work again, you know. I just so bad health-wise. And I was like, I have no other choice, no other option, nothing else to do. I might as well, you know, vent through music, make a
Hmm.
story, have something to do to occupy my time, you know. Because those weren't the best of times, so it gave my pretty much an outlet too. So
Yeah, yeah.
hoping for a career, of course, and then, you know, outlet to get rid of stress. And
Really
like I
nice.
said, a lot of free time too. So I was like, I can't just sit here and fucking rot away, you know.
Yeah, to be honest, I remember when I had a knee operation last
Yeah.
September, and I had like 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks off work, and literally the only thing that gave me motivation to like do anything. And to be honest, I'm not gonna lie, I did binge watch Breaking Bad, but whilst I wasn't doing that, I was like making beats and things. And if I didn't have like beats, I just, you have Netflix, but it just doesn't. It just, it just doesn't fill the same void, does it? Whereas music, you can really pour yourself into it, and it's like a really good outlet. So that's really
Yeah.
cool. So you've released quite a little bit of music, and your latest EP is really good. What would you say is your favorite feature that you've ever done?
It's hard, man, because I've done so many features. Like I've done probably 5 times the amount of features as I have single tracks. So
Hmm.
I don't think I have a favorite one, honestly, that I can think of off the top of my head. I mean, I love, of course, all the ones with TSG, you know, that's probably always going to be my go-to. You know, we're making so many songs together, probably, I don't know, maybe 20 or 30 that we've already dropped. Maybe that's a little bit overstated, but we've done a lot of stuff. And yeah, I can't think of a favorite off the top of my head. I mean, and you're also constantly evolving too, you know, so your favorite a week ago isn't your favorite today, your favorite a month ago, like it's just always changing. Sometimes my favorite becomes, you know, like one I hate later on, you know.
Yeah, totally. What is TSG then? I know what TSG is, but for those that are listening, what's TSG?
So TSG stands for Tri-State Generals. We're all from 3 different states. We got Texas, Florida, and Michigan. So we got Crazy over in there in Michigan. You know, I'm from Florida, obviously. And then we have, you know, H-Town Days. And then we have Roman 365. We have Conscious Chad. He's not really on a lot of the songs, but he's part of it as well. So it's just a little collective, and it's all people we've met through making music. You know, we didn't know each other in real life. We really, you know, we just all get along. It feels like we're all the same people, you know, we just got the same goals. We think the same. We keep it real, you know. It's like a lot of music nowadays is just fake and sounds the same, and they kind of help, you know, tell stories and put emotion back into music.
That's cool. So it's like a GUnit kind of thing.
Yeah. I guess you could say that. It's just a little different, you know. It's just kind of got together and clicked, like I said, right away, you know. And we all had similar styles, but our own unique sound. You know, I feel like every one of them is unique. You know, I haven't heard people that sound like any of them. You know, and that's one thing these days where it all starts to blend and sound the same. You know, it really gets old. And going back to what made me start, honestly, that's part of it too. Like, other than health issues, I got to a point where I just had to turn the fucking radio off, dude. I was so tired of hearing the shit. And I went to listen to rock for a little bit. Like, and I've always been hip hop from birth. I've never listened to any other music. So I don't have other music to really influence my sound. But at one point I was just like, this is enough, man. I can't listen to the same song every day, you know? So I'll just make my own music. So
sometimes I feel like that because I would say I can make all types of beats, but I'd say that I've got a little bit of a different style to a lot of other producers. And sometimes you listen to just a basic trap beat, and for me, it doesn't always do the job, because I'm like, oh, this is just almost recycled. It's just kind of the same thing as, you know, the rest of the beats that billions of producers are trying to, you know, put out there. So I always try and make mine a little bit unique, and it is difficult finding your style. But I do sometimes think that the general hip hop of 2020 is kind of samey and a bit boring. I don't want to talk trash on any rappers, you know, that maybe are in that style, but I think I'd say just be a bit more inventive. Do you know what I mean? You know, stop trying to copy Travis Scott. Stop trying to copy Kanye or Drake or Lil Uzi. You know what I mean? Just be
and then
you.
it's like, yeah, and then it kind of spills over into the beats, like you're saying. I mean, it used to be a point where I can go on BeatStars or something. I don't really use YouTube for beats, but I'll go on BeatStars and I'll just kind of scroll through. That's how I started with my freestyles. I'll just have a list and I'll just scroll through and pick one and go and just, you know, and I used to be able to do that consistently and find beats. And now it's like, I literally have to listen to 20, 30 beats before I like one that I can actually use, because they're all the same. Like, you got fucking 30 beats in a row that sound like Roddy Ricch beats, and then you got 15 beats that are like, you know, Rod Wave or whatever. It's like, and then you got the baby beats. It's like they're all the same, man. You can't even find something for your own style, so you almost have to make your own beats. But, you know, if you don't have time to do that, you just say, fuck it, you know. I'll just wait until something comes to me, and it's hard like that. I mean, I feel like people used to get their sounds because producers would work with them and they would create their own thing, you know. And now it's like you kind of just have to hop on a beat that sounds like everybody else.
Yeah, that's what, you know, I totally agree. That's like, from the producer's perspective, like, if I say we're working on some music together, you know, I would send you a beat and you're like, yeah, cool, I like it. Then you would like send some vocals back. But then it's really cool to actually work on the song more. So I might think, right, the space here where he's not rapping, or the space where I can add something, or maybe I need to take something away, and then collaboratively we can make the track the best it can be. Like, you know, me and Wyatt are working on an EP, and I've sent him some beats that are kind of just like a skeleton, and then when he raps, we like form it together. And I think there's not enough of that going on in the you know, underground scene, because a lot of people are just buying beats off BeatStars or buying beat bundles where they're getting like 50 beats for like the price of one, and they're just getting a beat and then they're rapping to it and that's it. It's much, you know, it's great for the guys that are selling the beats, but I think in terms of the creativity and the music and the, you know, and the collaborations, it's such a shame because, you know, back in the day, you know, I was reading a book by Symbolic One, who's a big producer, and he produced for like Kanye, Jay-Z, Drake, Madonna, and all this stuff. He's a really great guy, and he was saying how he, you know, how he collabed with Kanye on a beat, and then he got this other guy in who's really good with like synthesizers, and they, you know, he added just a layer on top of the beat, and it just made the whole thing sound insane. So there's not enough collaborations going on anymore,
Yeah.
which is a real shame. But on that,
Well, especially at a local level too, you know, because I mean, of course, times change, but you know, back in the day, you would just find somebody locally and you guys would create your sound, like I was saying, because you would have to produce. Most of the time, people that click have similar taste, you know what I mean? So if you have a producer that's producing a certain type of beats and you just instantly click with them, I mean, the possibilities are endless with that, you know?
mm,
But it's almost impossible to find somebody local these days and actually link up with people. You know,
yeah,
it's a busy life. Everybody's always, you know, out there doing something and don't really have that time. But and yeah, those producers on those sites now, I mean, I get why they do it. You know, they'll never sell their beats if not. You know, people are looking for that. They're looking for these cookie cutter things where they're all the same, and it's hard for producers too, because you can't even be yourself anymore either, because you won't sell beats and you won't make a living, you know? So it's like you just got to stick true to, you either got to stick true to you and take the long route, or you got to just make beats that everybody likes and just
yeah. That's
try
what
to make money.
I wrestled with. That I wrestled with.
Yeah.
Should I just make really simple, boring beats that everyone else is doing, or do I just say no? I'm gonna make the beats I want to make. It was like a month or two ago where I was like, I'm not making enough like trap beats with like 808s and hi-hat rolls and stuff like this. But then I was thinking, but I don't actually want to. I want, you know, those beats don't always appeal to me. Now, don't get me wrong, I've made some good ones and nice ones, and I still do make them, but it's not like my main focus. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
maybe I'm just gonna. I think that's what you've got to battle, especially, you know, when you're underground. Is I'm gonna just be me, and if it takes longer to get there, then that's cool because, you know, I'm enjoying the journey. So what? Because you're so unique with your freestyle, with your raspy vibes and stuff like that. What type of beat do you like to rap on then?
and see, I don't really like. I don't know, because it's. I mean, I don't know how to really count, because I do so many different ones. You know, obviously I like boom bap because it brings out that aggression, and you know, it brings out. It's always a good track when I get on boom bap beat, but you know, I don't like specifically doing those all the time. You know, because I mean, I love boom bap, but at the same time, you know, a lot of it sounds similar as well. Like where you get to, you know, it's like it almost your body just tones it out. Like if you're listening to a whole record, it just all starts to blend, you know. And it's like I just like having a variety, really. Like I mean, I can probably do almost any beat, and I just like to kind of sort through them all. So I don't have a specific one where I'm just like always trap, always boom bap. You know, it's just whatever's speaking to me at that time in my life. You know, like if I have aggression, then boom bap is a good one. You know, I get out there and just go ahead and do a quick one. And it's like if you know, you have beats that are more kind of slow and you know got instruments in them, more like I don't know. It's difficult, really.
Mm.
It's hard to just one. I think it just really depends on what I want to talk about and what type of mood I'm in, you know. But
Yeah.
I do like those heavy hitting, like, you know, obviously any diss track type beat like the one you made, and any boom bap is always going to be a go-to, but I don't like sticking with just that, you know.
I think there's been quite a few podcast episodes where I've actually mentioned you because I have got a lot of respect to show you, because in the early days, because I've been producing for about 5 years, but I only really
Yeah.
started producing hip hop for about, I don't know, 2.5 years, so not long. But for the other times, I was producing like rock music, indie rock music, and stuff with like 80s synth kind of vibes. And then I really got into making beats. And I remember I started Battle Beats, and then we linked up, and I was trying to like make beats for you, and there was a few of them that you were like, "Nah, I'm not vibing it," and then you kept sending me over a bunch of beats on YouTube, and you were like, "Oh, maybe work on your drums and make them sound a little bit like this." I would like go and then try and make a beat with like better drums and things, and you would listen to it, give me feedback, and you'd help me. And
Yeah.
I am grateful for that, because now my beats are way better because I
Yeah.
had you who could just tell me straight up and just be like, work on this, work on that. And then now I'd like to say that my beats have got to a level where they're really good. But if I
Yeah.
didn't have you, you know, being nice and being my friend and saying, maybe work on this, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I got a lot of respect for you and for the feedback you did. And I'm very grateful. So thank you.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's really, you know, it goes both ways, you know. We both help each other, you know, especially with tracks where, you know, obviously I try new things and try singing, and I, you know, obviously sound like shit singing or anything like that. And I, you know, it's like, you know, sometimes it's better to just either work with what you got or decide to scratch it. You know, it's important to be honest with people, because when you have a lot of yes men, you know, you can't never change and you can't grow. So anybody can say, yeah, that sounds great, and you release it, and then later you're like, what the fuck did I put out? You know, like, so it is important to have that honest feedback. And I mean, of course, that was just my style at the time, so anybody could have said different things to add to different beats. But I mean, I think it's all about just who you're attracting, you know, like your beats are definitely, I've always thought they were perfect for Wyatt, you know, just because you guys both, that you carry a melody in your beats and he carries his melody and his rapping, singing, mixed flow, you know. So it's like those drums and those hard kicks and stuff just make it easier for me. And I think that's the aggressive side where, you know, you're chill and wavy, and that's more like how he is, you know. He's just kind of cruising, and I'm just always like, like, just going.
But I think that, because me and Wyatt, we was a perfect match. We were like yin and yang in so many ways. But then working with you helped stretch my beat making like possibilities, because then I could have just stuck to making chill, wavy kind of beats. But now, you know, I'm good at making hard trap beats and, you know, good boom bap vibes, and that's because of like your feedback. And I remember when, can you remember when we did the song "Lit"? And you were like, oh, I'm gonna make a parody hip hop track that's gonna be taking the piss out of, like the modern mumble autotune rap. And that was like a really cool process that we went through, because you were like, do you want to tell us a little bit about that track and sort of what you was trying to achieve?
So pretty much I was just trying to show how easy it could be to make like a modern hit type style, you know. Yeah, at first I was just gonna completely clown everything, and then it turned into where it's actually real fun to make, you know. Like it was we kept going back and forth. I mean, we probably did 1,000 different versions of those vocals, but I mean, it was just a fun song. It was a fun song to make, but it was more so just to kind of mimic the modern sound and show at that time what I thought everything sounded like, you know. And of course it ended up turning out a little different than but it was a cool little process and just trying something new and having fun with something. I think I actually put that video on private now because so many people actually liked it. I'm like, no, this is not what I'm doing, man. That proves the point, though. You know, that kind of proves the point because they're all like, oh my God, that song is so good. It's so catchy. It's so fun. I'm like, yeah, that's all. You throw some auto-tune on it and you just make it a melody and that's all. Like, you know, so, but
Yeah.
I used to really hate on any mumble rap and when I first started, and I think back in 2018, you know, late 2018, that was the thing back then, you know. Everybody either hated mumble rap or they loved it. And now it's kind of like I don't even care anymore. Like, do whatever music you want. If I don't like it, I won't listen to it. But I don't really clown styles anymore, you know, because everybody evolves and everybody changes. You know, you can't stay the same forever.
Yeah.
But that
Well,
one song.
it's and as we were saying earlier, how there's a lot of people that are just rapping on the same types of beats, putting a load of auto tune on and saying the same 4 words over and over again. And to be honest, yeah, it sounds good, but it doesn't require. I don't want to say it doesn't require skill because I don't want to offend anyone, but it is very easy to do and it is catchy. So I guess that's the wave. What I like is when you've got a good beat, you've got a rapper who's rapping perfectly on beat, and his lyrics are like meaningful, and you can tell that they're rapping from the heart, and it's like you get that emotional connection when you listen to the song because you kind of you know vibing with their lyrics, and I think that's missing a lot of the time in today's rapping, and that's why I like your style, because I know that you freestyle a lot, but sometimes freestyling is just going from the heart because you haven't got any other random things going off in your head and stuff like that. But what sort of is there been anything, you know, besides the health that you were saying when you was younger that really made you want to, you know, get better at freestyling? Because I'm assuming you didn't wake up one day and you were just like a beast at freestyling. You must have like practiced or something.
I don't know. I mean, I don't want to sound cocky or arrogant, but I feel like it was something that just I already had. Because, I mean, the first time I did it, I mean, I don't know. It's hard. You know, memory's a funny thing sometimes, you know. So I think I always sound good, but I probably sounded like shit back then, you know. Like, I just thought I was better than a lot of people doing it because I'm like, you know, every school had that little circle where people would be freestyling. And I'm like, yo, these people, like everyone's like, oh shit. I'm like, yo, that shit was weak, you know? Like, but I would never have the confidence. So that's probably what sparked it. Cause I'm like, I know I can do better than that. I know I can be competitive. I am competitive. And I was always like, how are they all impressed by that? You know, so I would keep working, but I never felt like I never had the confidence to get out there. So if anything, it was probably just something like that, where I felt like I can do better than what I was hearing, but I didn't want to, you know, actually throw myself out there. So, you know, I was a dick for talking shit about those people like that because they had the confidence, whether they were the best or not, at least they were doing it, you know. So but that probably is what helped me, like, because I'm probably like practicing, you know, just and a lot of it, you know, smoke weed, you drink when you're a kid and shit like that, and you know, I just be listening to beats and just in my head, just, you know, doing it while I'm in my head. I'll be hanging out with friends, but in my head I'm just kind of freestyling, but I'd never just, you know, do it out loud. So
Nice.
but now I don't care anymore, you know.
You've seen 8 Mile, right?
Yeah.
Do you know the scene where Eminem interrupts and there's that female freestyler as well? The scene when they're at work and they're on the break.
With Exhibit.
Yeah, is that what it's like? Was that what it was like at school back in the day? Because in England, you didn't really have hip hop. Is you know, a lot of people like hip hop, but when I was a kid, it was we liked 50 Cent and Jay-Z and Eminem. They were like the big guys, but no one really rapped. You know, no one from where I'm from really raps. I know one guy who's from where I'm from who's like a good English rapper. He's called Brasco, but other than that, where I'm from in England, there's not much rap going on. So was that what it was like at lunchtimes? You had just like little groups of like white kids just, you know, rapping at each other.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of different people, like, you know, and then it would kind of just be in the morning, like you get to school, you know, let's say class didn't start till 8 and you're there at 7:15. That's when the bus gets there, you're early, you know, while everybody's waiting to go to class. I mean, of course, you have your different cliques. This was just in middle school, and you just have like a big circle of people, and they would just be going back and forth. And then, you know, it wasn't even like a structured battle like that, but people would just jump in. So if this guy was going at this guy, then somebody else would just jump in, and everybody was just jumping in and saying different stuff. So it wasn't as structured. It wasn't as I mean, I guess you could call it a battle, but it's not like the battles in that movie where they were just always straight up dissing each other. It's kind of sometimes it would just kind of be passing it around, you know. So like if this person stopped here, you pick it up, you pick it up, you pick it up, and you just keep it going in a circle. So, but again, like I never hopped in those circles, so I just kind of listened and watched and sat back, and I do a lot of listening and not a lot of talking, you know,
Yeah.
to kind of just learn that way.
So what would be the advice that you'd say to young teenage legend? If with all of your like life experience now, what would the advice you'd give young legend?
Dude, I always say to everybody, if I could go back in time, I think I would have already been famous by now. You know, if I would have actually went out and stuck my neck out and did it. Like, I truly believe that I had, you know, back then, you know, you have nothing but time. And that was a different era. That was when MySpace, you know, people were putting their music on MySpace, and everybody was looking for that, you know. So people blew up quick. Like Soulja Boy blew up because there was nobody like that back then. People didn't just put their shit, like he was one of the first people to put his shit on, you know, MySpace and just go viral like that. And YouTube, you know, it wasn't big. It was kind of new and small back then. So like, I don't know. I just always get mad, but you got to live for the future. But I know if I would have went back there, I would probably be somewhere different today. But I would have took it to a new level. So the main thing is just for younger people or younger me would just be to go with it. But, you know, of course, then you're not really worried about it. You're not thinking, hey, I'm going to grow up and be a rapper. You know, I'm like, you're thinking about girls. You're thinking about going home. You're thinking about hanging out with your friends. You're not. And also the accessibility, though, like you couldn't go buy an $80 microphone on Amazon, you know, and just plug it into your PC. Like, and you didn't have thousands of free software online. So, I mean, I'm sure, I don't know when Audacity or whatever it's called came out, but it wasn't around as much back then as it is now, you know, easier to get in. So,
yeah, had to record on tape machines.
Do I?
Yeah. Yeah, I do look back and think, well, if I was younger, I would do things different. But in hindsight, like I'd say I am where I am today because of my, you know, what happened growing up. I started playing live shows when I was 14, and you know, a lot of my musical like understanding has been shaped over, you know, say the past 12 years, to the point now where I can be in the studio and I can make the beats and the, you know, the music that I can. And I don't know if I'd change anything really, maybe get into production earlier. But then at the same time, I'm like, well, it all happened. I think it all just lined up perfectly. So I don't know if I would change anything. I don't know.
I think the thing is just the time. Like, I think of, you know, if I was really every night grinding, imagine how much better you would be 10 years later. You know, even now, like in the past year, I haven't sat down and every night did something, you know. So if I had that dedication then, and I'm just thinking about how far ahead I would be as compared to now. But like I said, it doesn't matter because your life would be different, and this is where you're meant to be, you know. But it's more like one of those missed opportunities, lost time, you know. You're like, fuck. Because even from 2018, I was like, damn, that was the first time I've ever freestyled on camera, you know, like my first one on Instagram. And I did it because someone was hosting a competition, you know, and everybody's like, oh, you're good, you need to get out there, you need to get out there. I'm like, nah, fuck that, I'm not putting my face out there, you know. And I was like, damn, I'm so good, man, I'm so good, getting all hyped up, everybody's hyping me up. Then, you know, a year later, you're like, God, I'm so much better now than I was just 1 year ago, even every month, you know? So it's like, think about if you were steadily grinding for 10 years, man, you'd be just so far ahead, you know? But there's always that, you know?
It's true. I definitely think, for me, like, I think I do grind every day on music. It's rare that I
Yeah.
don't do something along. Maybe I don't make beats every day, but I'm doing, I'm studying marketing, or I'm DMing rappers, or I'm just, doing things, or mixing and stuff like that. And I think if I hadn't put the time and the grind into like getting better, I wouldn't be halfway near where I am today. And that
Yeah.
the hard work definitely pays off. But
Yeah.
how about we switch it up? Because I know you've worked with a lot of underground rappers. Excluding yourself, can you name me your top 5 list of underground rappers that you think are dope? And if this doesn't have to be in any numerical order, so whoever you say first and last doesn't mean that the person you said last is the worst, but
So it just depends. I mean, when you say underground, do you mean just non-mainstream, or you mean people that are like, in the fam, or like my level, or like?
I just think it doesn't have to be just people in the fam, but it can be just for people that I might not know, or for people listening might not know, because you could say YouTube rapper, but I want to make it a bit broader than that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know, man. It's so hard because I don't get on, like, since I am always on the go, I don't get to cruise YouTube a lot. I don't get to, actually hunt underground rappers. So it's like I mainly listen to a lot of Spotify, and I kind of find new artists through Spotify. So I don't think there's any like specific underground rappers other than like people that I would know that I can list like that. I mean, because I do listen to mainstream people still, and like I said, on Spotify, so it's a lot of, but I'm listening to more of a lot of old school stuff lately, and stuff I've never heard before, and just revisiting stuff from, what I should have known in my era. So, I mean, I guess you can consider some of those people underground, but they're already long gone, so there's really no names of anybody underground right now, because I don't really listen to, like I said, YouTube rappers or anything like that.
Oh, fair
So it's
enough.
not really good, but let me see if I can pull up my Spotify and just give you an example of who I'm listening to now, because it changes every day. I don't even know if I can log in.
Whilst you're doing that, then, who is your dream feature?
I don't know either. I've been thinking about that. Like, I really like Kevin Gates, man, but he wouldn't be my dream feature. That's just somebody I like a lot and I listen to a lot of, and a dream feature would probably be somebody from my childhood, like those OGs to me, like Young Jeezy or, Ludacris. And It might not be lyrical rappers, but it would be more so like a nostalgia thing. Like, the people that I looked up to growing up, and then just actually getting on a track with them,
Nice.
I really don't know, though. Like, I don't have just one where I'm like, I got to get on a song with this person.
So what new music do you have coming? I know you're very busy with, just life stuff and work and school and things, but have you got any plans for any new music, like a new EP or album or something?
No, I really just kind of taking it a day at a time. I mean, like I complain about it all the time, but I wake up at 6. I'm at work from 6 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon, so that's 10 hours of my day. I leave and I go pick up my son, and by the time we get home, it's already 5. You're cooking dinner and all that shit. It's 6 or 7 o'clock. Then I'm doing school for 4 hours. By then it's like 10 o'clock, and I'm like, the last thing I want to do, I don't have the drive to say, okay, well, I'll just go to bed at midnight and then wake back up at 4:30 again. So I'm really slow right now, but I'm about to be done. I'm done with school this week, actually. So hopefully it starts to open up, man, and I can get back into it. But I kind of just, I got to find that spark again, kind of, especially with how the year's going, you just kind of, your mind's everywhere but music. And it's like, you're so, when you're pulled in every direction, you're like, I don't give a fuck about music right now. I care about work, family, this, and getting done what I'm getting done. But I mean, sometimes that's where the best music comes from too, because you take all that stress and you just throw it in a song. But so I pulled up my Spotify, and if you look at, like, most people I'm listening to is just old people that I grew up on. You got Lil Wayne, of course, Juvenile, Andre 3000. These are all my top people. Eminem. You got Ritz. I don't know if you know who Ritz is.
I don't know.
Yeah, he's an Atlanta rapper. He's been around for a while. You got
Nice.
Jody Breeze. A lot of these people are people probably don't even listen to, you know. So, yeah, of course, Jeezy's on there. Keep talking about Jeezy, Nipsey Hussle, Webby, Boosie. So it's all old people that I listen to, and you got a lot of the Texas stuff in there too. So like Gorilla Mob and Zero, and so it's just a huge mix of things, you know. Just kind of listen to everything, and it's a lot of old stuff because, like I said, I don't necessarily like the new sound. I'm not, you know, dogging. I just don't want to listen to it. Pimp C's on there, you know, a lot of that sound. I like that southern, you know, old school dirty south.
Nice. So I think we'll wrap it up there, bro. But thanks for coming on. It's been really good having you on. It's just good to catch up as well, and for you finding time for this as well. But where can everyone check you out? We will put links in the description, but where can everyone check you out?
Well, I got my Instagram, you know, Legend2191. Same thing with YouTube. I'm not on it as much anymore, but Instagram is usually where I'm gonna try to get going again. And you know, you just reminded me. I actually I'm gonna try to do 3 songs today. So I have 2 features for one person, and then 1 with TSG. So hopefully we can get it out within these next couple weeks. 2 of them are for somebody's album, so I don't know when that's releasing, but the TSG one hopefully soon. But yeah, mostly Instagram. I'm not really on YouTube much. I'm not on Twitter, but that's about it.
Awesome. Sounds good. But anyway, bro, thanks for coming on. It's been great. Thank you for listening to the Beats and Bars podcast. I'm your host, Battle Beats. See you next week.
It's battle.